All right. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing this morning? Fantastic. We are again auditorially challenged, not auditorium, but our sound is down again this morning. And so we have rigged a system here. All of the vocal sound is coming through this little monitor right here. So if you're on the back row and can't hear, you may want to move forward. And if you're on the front, it may be a little bit. But that's what we got going this morning. Thank you for being here. It's a beautiful morning. If you're joining us online, we want to say welcome also. If you would put a note in there or a smiley face or a heart, we'll just know that you're with us this morning. So last night, is this too loud? We may have to just a bit loud. Okay, because I have to do it from up here. So if you will just help me out a little bit, I'm going to try to turn this down. Anybody? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah. That's
better
good.
right there?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me. Okay. So Amber last night, she said, have you heard in the news what's going on with this Ashbury thing? And I said, Ashbury thing? What are you talking about? She said, look at this. Read this. Has anybody heard of this thing? What's going on in Ashbury, Kentucky? A revival in Ashbury, Kentucky. So Ashbury, Kentucky, it's a little college. It's a little Christian college. And they started their chapel on Wednesday at 11 a.m. And it's been going ever since. It's still going on now. They have gone 24/7 since Wednesday because of what's going on. And so let me tell you what they say. They said God began pouring out his love among the, sorry. When real stuff happens, it gets me a little bit clamped. God began pouring out his love among the students in a very profound way. Once the word got out, people started showing up from Michigan and South Carolina. One of the teachers says, when people see this, for this generation, for the church, for the world, for the neighbors, for the people around us, for the glory of God, he said, this is a kingdom thing. This is a kingdom thing. And so, I naturally get a little skeptical. I'm like, oh, this is for social media or something like that. But then again, I think, you know what? I was in college, and they couldn't get me to go to chapel. I mean, it was only 15 minutes long, and I couldn't go. But these people have been there since Wednesday for 24 hours a day the whole time. And so that is what I'm looking for. That is what this place is, a place where the kingdom and the presence of God is palpable. When you walk in the back doors, you sense something different about this place. That people that are driving down this road here, they stop and they go, you know what? I feel like I need to be in that place. When the word gets out all over town that if you need community, you need healing, if your life needs to be restored, you need to find your way to the center of unity. That's what I'm looking for us, okay? All right, Bob, let's start this song, shall we? Well, that's the way Elvis did it. Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King. His love endures forever. Hold on, we're wrong.
With a mighty hand and outstretched arm, his love endures forever. For the life that's been reborn, his love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God the setting sun. His love endures forever.
And by the grace of God, we will carry on.
His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever.
Sing that again.
Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever. Forever. Forever.
Do it again. I didn't hear you. Come on. Sing praise, 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 sing praise. Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever. One more time. Forever.
Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever. Forever. Forever.
Good morning, everyone. So good to see all of you here in person, and good to know that we've got a lot of people joining us via our live stream. I saw Haley and Jeanette and Ginny, and who else did I see out there? Julie, a bunch of folks saying good morning to us out on YouTube and Facebook. You know, I was saying something to someone earlier, a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's our snake that goes from the stage to the back that is seeming to give us some trouble. And I was telling them, yeah, that snake's been causing trouble since the beginning of time. That's my little metaphysical joke for the morning. But we are grateful you are here. We hope that what you experience today moves and opens and expands your heart and your mind and your ability to expand the perspective of how you see all of life and see God's love right in the midst of even the most difficult things. We are happy that we have figured out a way that we can celebrate today and everyone can hear and participate. And so we're just going to get ready and do one more song together.
Okay. Lamentation says, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, O Lord. My Lord, he is my portion, says my soul, and therefore I will absolutely trust in him. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name. Sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord. So bless the Lord, oh my soul.
Oh, my soul, worship his holy name.
Sing like never before. Oh, my soul,
I worship your holy name. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find.
Sing it with me. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord, oh my soul.
Oh, my soul, worship his holy name.
Sing like never before. Oh, my soul,
I worship your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and forevermore.
Sing it, come on.
So bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, my soul, worship his holy name.
Sing like never before. Oh, my soul,
I worship your holy name.
bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name. Oh, I worship your holy name.
Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Okay, sound good? All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary, and I'm on the care team. And this is my friend Ganera, and she is on the care team. And we're going to read you the daily word today and then have a healing prayer. So the word for today, compassion. So compassion for us is this issue. Acts of loving compassion build.
Whether in my community or across the world, many people face hardships. As a member of the human family, I am inspired to undertake compassionate action and help however I can. Sometimes just powerful thought of simple blessing can make a powerful difference in someone's life. Other times, I may be able to take more direct action. I may listen to someone deeply as they share their concerns of their heart. Or I may volunteer to drive them somewhere or to complete an errand for them. Regardless of the form my compassionate action takes, I am motivated to be a sacred service to bring the love and the care of God into manifest form through my decisive action.
And from Matthew 14:14, when he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured their sick. Now we will join in a healing prayer. Just want to remind you that people online can send a prayer request to the care team. And I think it's under prayer on our website. And the care team is in the prayer room after service for about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on our needs, your needs. So we'll just take a moment and, before I start the prayer, I also want to announce that Pat Scott, who many of you know, has broken her hip. And so we're going to hold her in a special place. She's doing well, Jim told us, and she'll be fine, but she's had a fall, and so we're going to hold her in prayer as well. So for Pat and for all of those who are in need of healing, in need of support of their joy, in need of any type of prayer, we hold them and we know and affirm that divine order is in place, that healing is in place, and that joy is filling each and every one. And so for this and for all of those that we hold in heart and mind, we say thank you, Lord. Amen.
Good morning, good morning to all of you and those who are watching. This is February, Black History Month, and I would just like to take an opportunity to share with you one of the first African American people to be licensed by Unity. She is not the first African American woman to become a licensed Unity teacher. She is about the fourth. Last year, I presented Corrine Smith, who was the third or the fourth person of color to become a licensed Unity minister. It works if you work. Have you heard that term, that affirmative phrase? She would like for us to say it this way. It works if I work it. Yes. She, Dr. Johnny Coleman. She's affectionately called Johnny, and she was thought to be the first lady of New Thought. She was born in Centerville, Alabama, and raised in Columbus, Mississippi, in a spiritual environment with her family, although she really was interested in the arts in terms of acting, and actually she wanted to play an instrument, a saxophone. She wanted to play it professionally. She also wanted to become a dancer. She really had ideas of doing that too, playing the saxophone. She graduated valedictorian of her class at Union Academy High School and received her BA from Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. She taught a few years in Mississippi and Chicago. And after learning she had an incurable disease, in 1952, Coleman enrolled in the Unity School of Christianity at Lee Smith, Missouri, where she received her certificate and became an ordained minister. And there's a picture of her coming up soon. And this is how it all began. It was early one morning when Ms. Coleman received a phone call, and she was told she had 6 months to live. And the way she said it was just that cold, harsh. You have 6 months to live. Well, it was early in the morning. She wasn't a morning person. So she said, excuse me, and she was told, you have 6 months to live. 6 months to live. She cried, she cried, she cried. She said, I don't cry often, but when I cry cry hard and long. So she stumbled into the living room. A Unity magazine fell off the table, and she said, these are the words that she saw. God is your help, you can't be sick. And she was furious at that. And as she was fussing and carrying on in the living room, her mother came in and said, well, why don't you just go to wherever the publishers are of this magazine and talk to them about it? She did. The moment she got there, though, she said, oh my gosh, the grounds were green, well manicured lawn. Everything was so beautiful. Even the animals seemed to welcome her. So 4 weeks and 4 summers, she became a licensed Unity teacher. She then wanted to teach right away. Started with a few people in her home, and she cooked for them so they'd come. And then she became a Unity minister in 1958. This is the part that I think most people remember about her. She has a long list of credentials that I won't take time to go through now. However, she did found a church she called Christ Unity Temple. She later renamed it to Christ Universal Temple, a Chicago-based megachurch. In 1974, Coleman also founded Universal Foundation for Better Living. Catherine Ponder. You familiar with that lady? This is what she said of Johnny Coleman. Little did I realize that when I first met her at Unity School, where she and I both studied in the early 1950s, that she was destined to build an ever-increasing church in Chicago, Illinois. I know that church because I was able to go to it only once, maybe twice when I lived there. Humongous mega church. And she said, among her illustrious ministers that she supported, Della Reese, remember, Touched by an Angel? She also had other influential friends, but that didn't steer her away from her ministry, some of which you may recognize, such as Reverend Jesse Jackson. She ministered to him, also Michael Jordan's family. However, such associations, as I again say, did not slow her down from ministering to large following who she especially loved sharing the ministry with. Lastly, I'd like to share this. Johnny Coleman helped Catherine Ponder with her books because ministers just were not supportive of her and her writings. And Johnny Coleman called her Miss Prosperity. She said, well, if that is so, then you should take a bow, because while other ministers didn't support me, you did by speaking from my books and selling them in your bookstore. So today, thank you in helping me honor Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman.
Beautiful, Bob. Thank you. So what do unity and Islam have in common? That is the question that we're going to explore this morning. Drawing upon Reverend Paul Roach's book, Unity and World Religions, and other resources as our guide, my prayer is that each person will walk out of here today or be listening online and come away with a deeper understanding and maybe an expanded awareness of the golden threads of truth that run through all of the major world religions, including Islam. Reverend Paul writes this. He says, if Christianity has been a journey to understand the nature of Jesus, and Judaism, the walk of a people seeking a free and full connection to their God through a covenant relationship, then Islam is characterized by a zealous struggle to establish the peace of God. If a struggle for peace sounds contradictory, then we are beginning to understand the dynamic tensions that characterize the Muslim experience. Just to give a little bit of background in history, Islam, which didn't actually begin to come into formation till about 613 to 632 in the Arabian Peninsula. So it's one of the newer religions, although we in Unity are even way newer than that. And it was the formation of people following a vision that the prophet Muhammad received from God, a series of visions that were ultimately culminated and shared through their sacred book called the Quran. The word Islam itself means peace through submission to God's will. To be a Muslim, and it's like one and the same. A Muslim is simply somebody who practices and follows the Islam teachings. Literally means to be a submitter to God, a follower of Islam. There are 1.9 billion Muslims in the world as of 2020, primarily in Africa and Southern Asia, compared with the 2.2 billion Christians, which are located primarily in North America and Europe, and 15 million Jews, with the largest population in the U.S. Only 1% of Muslims live in the United States currently. Central to the theology of Islam, like Judaism, like Christianity, and like Unity, the core tenet is there's only one God. There's only one power, there's only one presence in the world. Muhammad, like the prophets before him, rejected the many pagan gods and ways of worshiping those gods that were prominent in that part of the world, and in fact believed and taught that pagan worship, worshiping things outside of the one true God, is what led to and was the very root of abuse and immorality in our world. He began his ministry in Mecca, and that area also had very strong factions of Christians and Jews living in the area. They all were coexisting together. And he pays great respects, had learned about, was friends with many people in these two other dominant religions in his area, and pays homage to the prophets of both Judaism and Christianity. There are many pages in the Quran that include the teachings of Abraham, that include the teachings of Jacob and Elijah and Moses, as well as what he called the great prophet Jesus. There are 5 core elements. I liked it because we have that symmetry with them. We have 5 principles that are kind of the underlying tenets of unity. They have 5 core elements of Islam as well as the 5 pillars of Islam. And these are more than just ideas. They are primarily rooted in practices, everyday practices that each Muslim is encouraged to follow in order to be able to live and experience what their core focus is, which is to be a peaceful submitter to God's will. How can you know what God's will is unless you have this intimate relationship with the Creator? So the whole focus is on understanding, having some awareness of, and then being willing to follow God's will. This one God is the focus, and all things flow from that. The second element of the Islam faith is interesting, is that they believe in angels. They believe that angels are God's messengers and that they come to be that intermediary between humankind and God to help us to understand and know and be greater practicers of that will of God. The third element is around their sacred teachings. And their sacred teachings is primarily the Quran, but they also look to the Psalms. They also look to the Gospels to greater understand how to be in relationship with God. It's said that Allah, which is the name that they call God, recognizes all of those who are righteous in their faith and who follow their prophets. And so, unlike Judaism or Christianity, where there's only one way to get to God, Islam is open to and recognizes that there are many paths, and all of those paths lead back to Allah and to the kingdom, which is also a very unity thought, that there is one God, but there are many paths to get to that God, to return to that God. The fourth is the belief of the coming of the judgment day. So they are quite aligned with both Judaism and Christianity, that the day is going to come where God is going to return to this earth and physically restore the kingdom of heaven to this place. So paradise, as they call it, is a place for the faithful, and hell is the place that those who are faithless will live out their days. And the fifth element is the belief that God is in charge and that we should be humbled in the face of such magnificence and power. However, they don't see humanity as those unworthy worms of the dust or those miserable sinners forever unacceptable to God. Rather, when they're looking to express their magnificence, their joy, their praise of this God, it is out of a great joy in knowing that there is a oneness when we are engaged and aligned with this God. You know, this was the day I had 3 videos planned for you, but unfortunately the videos aren't going to work in our system today. So I was going to put up a picture here. We kind of pivoted at the last minute. And the 5 pillars of Islam you can see up here. So the first is, and everyone's required to do it if you're going to be a follower of Islam, is your profession of faith. And that faith says there is one God. And I am willing to submit to the will of that God. And Muhammad, or the people of Islam, is the messenger that they follow. prayer is big, and this is probably something you're familiar with if you're at all familiar with Muslims and their practices, because they are required to pray 5 times a day. Can you imagine? I think it would be an amazing thing. What would that look like if 5 times a day we stopped, we paused, we focused on nothing but that power and presence in our lives, and asked that presence to be with us, to guide us very early in the morning, midday, noon, afternoon, evening. It is a practice, I think, that brings those who are following the faith of Islam a much richer, deeper experience of this God, because it's such an integral part, prayer, in their lives. And they don't just pray like we Protestants tend to pray. We go, get in a quiet position, and we either in mind, because trust me, praying out loud for a lot of people brings them great anxiety. Most of us don't necessarily pray with our vocal cords. For them, praying is a full body experience. There is movement, body movement, there is singing and speaking, so that you get that vibrational tone of the power of the voice. Every part of their body gets included in the prayer process. This third pillar, almsgiving, I found quite interesting. I learned some things. I love doing this because I go out and do a little research and discover new things. So there is a required giving component of Islam. It's 2.5% of your income, and it goes to a place where you choose to serve people in need. So I thought to myself, well, if it doesn't go to the church itself, to the mosque itself, how does the mosque fund itself? Because this is actually, the 2.5 is going out to feed a need in the community. And what I discovered was that, except for in the West, every mosque is built either by the government or by a wealthy donor. And they sustain the salaries and the upkeep and maintenance of the building, so that the people who attend aren't asked to give to support that. Now in the West, what's been happening for those small Muslim populations is they don't have a government that's going to build a mosque for them here. And they typically don't even have a wealthy donor who's willing to fund the cost to create a sacred building and pay all of the salaries. And so they've kind of gotten around it and created nonprofit organizations, and then often give their 2.5% to that nonprofit that then helps support and fund all that's necessary for that mosque to continue to operate. So it's worked really well in those other countries, but in this particular country, they're having to take a look at that model. And we, like every other church, kind of has that model where, especially in Unity and other small denominations, that we are fully funded by the people who give to this church and the organizations that we receive our good from. The fourth that is something that every Muslim will practice is the annual fasting during Ramadan. And so for that 30 days that is leading up to their holy day, they fast from morning till night. They can have a little bite to eat after the sun goes down, but every day for those 30 days they fast. And it's kind of similar to Lent. It gets practiced and has historically been practiced over eons in the Christian and in Judaism. Yom Kippur, you often fast before you have that grand celebration. And it's really a practice of self-discipline. It's a practice that they are each reminded and prey upon those who have less than they do to remind themselves how abundantly they live in life. And it's also a way in which they pay respect and homage to their one God by stepping into and practicing this every year. And then finally, there is the pilgrimage that each, I'm trying to find the right place to do this where I'm not blowing it out, and yet you can still hear me. Every Muslim is required, if at all possible, to make one trip in a lifetime to Mecca, which is the center where the mystical black stone is, that if you can go and touch it, you can touch almost the very energy of God. Let's look at that picture. I wanted to show you, I was going to show you an actual video of the crowds that will show up in Mecca, especially around the holy days of Ramadan. But can you imagine being in this space with millions of other people at one time? And again, this isn't a stagnant journey. You're always moving. The whole crowd is in constant motion. And eventually, if you're lucky, the crowd will move in such a way where you'll get to the very center and be able to have that experience. It's kind of like many people, you know, I would encourage people at least once in their lifetime to go to Unity Village and be able to experience those beautiful grounds there. Islam, like all religions before it, also has a mystical aspect to it. You know, we talked about the Christian mystics, and we talked about those who study the Kabbalah, which is the mystical arm of Judaism. Well, in Islam, the mystical aspect of this is Sufism. Perhaps you've heard of that. So it is the practice of Islam, but their real focus and intent is to have a direct spiritual experience of God. Their practices are around cultivating that. It is their main goal is a journey to discover the eternal self, what we call the Christ Spirit within us. And whether it is the contemplative dances of the whirling dervishes, that's what their whole purpose of doing that. It looks beautiful if you've ever had a chance to see. It's an amazing, almost energetically palatable experience. I got to see some whirling dervishes when I was in Istanbul, and it is, I don't think I could ever do it because you really have to practice so that you're not dizzy. I mean, you're just, sometimes they go for hours, spinning round and round and round. And the whole purpose is to have that direct spiritual experience with God. We also, whether we know it was part of the Islam faith or not, have much beautiful science discoveries, poetry. People like Rumi and Hafiz come out of the Islam tradition. And they're the mystical side, where they're really focused on the presence and the power and the experience of God's love. That presence as a deep and abiding understanding and identification with God. They see themselves as one with God. And above all else, that core quality of love, that universal, unconditional love. The path is really about falling in love with the divine. That is that is Mecca for someone who is following the path of Sufism. In many ways, that path is very similar to the journey for those who come into unity, to engage with, to experience, and to call forth the full power of God's love in expression. And so as we take a moment and we're going to move into a time of meditation, I want to share with you as part of our meditation today a poem that comes from a medieval Sufi called Ibn Arabi. And the words, I think, resonate just as beautifully today as they did 1,000 years ago. So I would just invite you to take a moment to bring your attention inward. Perhaps you want to close your eyes if that's comfortable, or just focus on some point in the room. And as we start, any time that we are seeking to be closer to God, to just focus on the breath, because remembering that God is in the very breath that we take allows that energy, that presence of love to move in and through us, as that breath is always circulating, mind, body, and spirit. And see if you can't imagine that that thinking part of you that we associate in our head is slowly sinking down until it comes to gently rest in the area of your heart. What we often think of as the wisdom of the heart, or even our ability to see through the eyes of the heart, through the eyes of God. And just allow my words to become yours. My heart has opened unto every form. It is a pasture for the gazelles, a cloister for Christian monks, even a temple for idols. The Kaaba of the pilgrim, the table of the Torah, and the book of the Quran. I practice the religion of love. Listen to it one more time as you bring those words deep into your heart, allowing it to expand so that your heart can encompass all of it. My heart has opened unto every form. It is a pasture for the gazelles, a cloister for the Christian monks, a temple for the idols, a Kaaba of the pilgrim, the table of the Torah, and the book of the Quran. I practice the religion of love. Just sit for a moment and allow the wisdom of the heart to guide you, how you are being called in this moment to practice the religion of love. And as you begin to bring your attention back to this time and place, to the sounds in the room, the awareness of the chair support you. Allow this last line to live and ruminate and be guided into new ways. As you hold that thought throughout this day and the days to come, I practice the religion of love. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I wanted to end by addressing something that rises up for me, so I would imagine it rises up for some of you. You know, in the West, especially after 9/11, there's been suspicion and sometimes even a very fearful view of Muslims, at least in this country. And just as in every other religious organization, radical, fundamentalists, whatever name you want to attach to them, have hijacked a form and a set of beliefs and made them their own to fashion their own intentions for the world. And oftentimes in this radicalized life, what I believe should be imposed upon everybody. I have a brother that if I'm right, then everybody else is wrong. I mean, this idea that there can be two equally valid, different ways of looking or understanding or paths is difficult for those who are in that radical frame of mind. I know for me, I had very little awareness. I didn't have interactions with Muslim people when 9/11 happened prior to that. I didn't really know that much about what their beliefs were. And so I set about at that time to want to be more educated, to want to put a face and a heart and an understanding to those who represented the 99.9% of Muslim people. And I will say, as a woman, it was a little bit more difficult than perhaps men might have. When I was in Roanoke for those almost 10 years, I joined an interfaith group, and we met oftentimes monthly as a way to explore each other's faiths, visited each other's places of worship, and yet I was oftentimes told that because the men would say, I'm a practicing Muslim, and part of my practice is that we don't touch women who are not our wives, even to shake hands. That was just the practice. We don't even necessarily sit next to and close to one another. And so we had to kind of find a way to be able to have conversation. And it was always said with great love and great respect, but it was a little more challenging because in that particular religious path, women still play a pretty limited role, and it's difficult because of their beliefs and understandings to have a lot of interaction with people, especially people of other faiths. And as I grew to see and grew in greater understanding, while their path was very different, and it perhaps even had some things that I wasn't all that excited or thrilled about from my perspective, the journey was the same. The journey to be one with God. There are many golden threads between unity and Islam, and the belief in one God, and that God being the very energy and essence of love, is certainly one of them. The power of prayer to change lives is another that we hold quite dearly in our shared theology. The power of that prayer to change our thoughts, to change our emotions. They understood the law of mind action, that this is a very powerful tool, and when we can shift those, we shift our perspective about life. And ultimately, our common thread is our desire to know, to experience God, to be one with God. May you be blessed on this journey, wherever it leads you.
All right. Well, the band gets set up here. I just want to recognize our band here. They do an amazing job every Sunday. Laurie and Stephen and Jimmy and Bob, and that's my middle oldest son, Beck. Proud of him. But I'm just real thankful for this whole band that comes in here and does this journey with us every Sunday. When this song came out in 1987, it was an anthem about faith and about doubt. And it's a song about searching for meaning, searching for transcendence. And to me, the most interesting thing about it is the character of the song. He doesn't find it. But it's about the search. It's about the journey. C.S. Lewis once said that if we find within ourselves a desire for which no earthly satisfaction can be found, perhaps this is evidence that we were made for something else altogether. Let's do this song. I have climbed highest mountain. I have run through the fields only to be with you. Only to be with you. I have run, I have gone, I have scaled these city walls, only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I have kissed honey lips, felt the healing in their fingertips. It burned like fire, this burning desire. I have spoke with tongue of angels. I have held hand with the devil. It was warm in the night, but I was cold as a stone. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I believe in kingdom come, then all the colors will bleed into one. They'll bleed into one. Yes, I'm still running. You broke the bonds and you loosed the chains, carried the cross of my shame. Of my shame. You know I believe it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Come on, sing it with us. Y'all know this one. Come on. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Come on. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still
Well, it is our opportunity to share of our financial good with this ministry. We are grateful for the many ways in which we receive our good, and you are certainly one of those channels or many of those channels, and we are just ready to receive and to continue to do what's ours to do. In just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row, if you're able, and to place your gift in the large basket, or we've got the little cards in the pews if you give through our committed giving program, or you can simply just put your hand over it and add your energy to that flow of abundance, and then receive an affirmation to bless you this week. And those online, we want you to be in the fun too. So you can certainly go to our website, centerofunity.org, to our give page, and there's a way to receive your financial gift to us, as well as if you'll scroll down the page and click on an icon that speaks to you, you can receive an affirmation to bless you this week too. So let us take the gifts that we offer this day into our hands and into our hearts and bless them together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
Morning. I'm Norma. I'm one of the board members, and I'm here to welcome you to higher. Okay, got it. Someone will always tell me. watching us for the first time, we're glad you've chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website and fill out the Connect card. And if you're local, we invite you to visit us in person. If you're visiting us in person today for the first time, please complete a visitor card found in the pew pocket in front of you and drop it in the box at the back of the sanctuary on your way out. Now, we want to mention Matt Sweat. As many of you know, Matt is our new board president, previously served as vice president. In addition, he heads up the membership team, a group that grew out of our strategic planning last year, and has taken a leadership role in our Rising Generation Spirit Group. He's also an active member of our safety team. Supporting his spiritual community is clearly important to Matt, and so Matt, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Yeah, but the audio doesn't work, so we'll just move on beyond that. Why don't we bring our kids in, Bob?
This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, well, we had a lot of fun today. They learned about things that are not as they appear, but they want to tell you about some of the things they did.
Today we learned about the force. Today Miss Debbie lollipop. Today we made armpit fudge. Today we stared at a candle for 1 minute to. Today we learned that you have to have perseverance. We made armpit fudge. We read some of the Star Wars book.
So things are not as they appear. They made fudge.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. Thank you for joining us online. Why don't you all stand up together and let's do our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we go into this day, into this week, seeking to be in the midst of the presence of God and the presence of love, we go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.